Pecha Kucha 109, The Tale of Sparrhawk. So, yeah, you'll see what that joke's about in a minute. This has been a very strange week for me. I'm apparently doing a paid graphic design job. We'll see if I get paid. I wouldn't pay me, but let's begin. So, a designer friend of mine sent me this. Sparrowhawk Signatures, their current logo for a fashion company he's involved with. He wanted me to kind of update it, modernize it, make the Sparrowhawk much more central in whatever the logo would be. So the first thing I did is when to Wikipedia, what the fuck is a Sparrowhawk? And it turns out it's actually got a bit of cultural stuff going on, like these things in Slavic culture roost on trees where dead men lie beneath. So you could do something very interesting if you decided you wanted to be culturally aware, but why would I? This thing's also supposed to be for like a winter clothing line, and I was instructed to make it look wintry, but without using color. So I thought, you know what? Well, no, I saw something online that made me think, let me put the Sparrowhawk maybe in a scarf or a hat. And then what I was going to do is make the image much bigger and then tie it in a like a circle onto Sparrowhawk Signatures in a rectangle, and maybe it would either be a silhouette and then be like snow dripping off the logo. It's nothing clever, but the idea is to just send them a rectangle so it looks like these. It looks like an actual logo. The stuff I've done prior hasn't really been in the right shape to fit in the business world. But that said, you don't want something overly illustrative. I mean, Polo have Burberry and Polo. They have like actual images, Ralph Lauren as part of their logos, but you don't want to necessarily go all in. I liked the idea of creating a badge. Yeah, the snow is too much on this, but again, I'm supposed to make this wintry without using color. I've used a font that seems more appropriate. It's like sans serif. It's minimalist. My second design in the background, which you'll see, but it's kind of like really inspired by this like Vulcan ride, just this crappy JPEG I saw on the left. But all the way through this, I'm looking at stuff online, vintage design, uh, animal logos, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm trying to find some reference, right? So, I like this idea of like a full-on t-shirt design. The Sparrowhawk is massive. I'm thinking of this as like, I think what they want me to do is put something that goes right across the t-shirt. Because all the other information I've been told, I can't really make head or tails of it. I get told a lot of contradictory stuff. And I sent them two circles, and I needed to send them a rectangle in terms of like how this thing would fit. So I just adapted their design, shrunk the signature, and made it look kind of cool in terms of color temperature. And Sparrhawk, because this doesn't read as Sparrowhawk, in case you haven't noticed. I haven't found anyone that can comfortably read that as Sparrowhawk. Yeah, all the time I'm on 1001 fonts, trying to find something appropriate to, label this thing up. Price down on this JPEG looks an awful lot like the GTA font. Take that or leave it. It's nothing to do with anything. And it's very late in the day that I realized that the reference imagery I've used, this one looks like it's also the image that they originally used. This isn't a Sparrowhawk. This is a falcon. Yeah, it's really only a difference in colouring. But the body I used is the body not of a sparrowhawk, but of a sparrow, a Eurasian sparrow. This is the problem with Bing and Google, but I'm using Bing because I'm too lazy to actually Google, because I default to Bing. It sends you 90% of the right images, 10% of the wrong, and I was looking for something that had a good wingspan, and I couldn't get a sparrowhawk picture. Right, so this is the tightened up one I sent them. Took me a day to just basically redesign it from scratch, because I haven't spoken about my Adobe Illustrator processes, but basically it's like a train crash meets a car crash. It's just my layers are a complete mess. I can't manage anything. I was messing around with applying color effects. So like this is, I don't even remember what it is. Yeah, I applied a lighten filter over a block of color, put on top of the image, and it made everything blue, which I thought, well, this is cool. This is interesting. I'll just send this to them, see what they think. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if those wings were black? And then I switched it to hue layer settings, and then the lines went black, and then the blues popped, and I thought, oh, they should take this one. It's not bad. I kind of like this. But then maybe it's too cool. And of course, how am I going to get rid of the square? I can't. I can only, I suppose I'd have to shape it. Uh, so they got back to me and said, change the color of the wings, and then change the font. So signatures at the bottom goes all the way to the wingtips. So now it's horribly disjointed. I've tried with several images. You'll see them coming up to kind of address this, but yeah, changing the font size and changing the leading, the tracking, the kerning. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's tracking, the space between the letters in a word. I'm trying to minimize just how garish it looks, but it's a tall order. I mean, I don't even think they should have signatures on the thing at all. And I'm kind of simultaneously varying colors of the wings and the text just to see what works. I don't think any of them work. This is why I don't think they'll pay me, because I'm like, what are they going to do with this? I think they are going to stick it on a t-shirt. Otherwise, what's the point? They can't brand themselves with this. And sad clown of the week is the Eurasian sparrowhawk that had to have its name dragged into the mud over all of this, even though for the most part it wasn't really being referenced. Sucks to be him, sucks to be me. It brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 109, and I'll see you next time.